Hey everybody, I'm Josh. Thank you. On the show today, we're going to continue the discussion about relationships. We're going to talk about engagements and weddings. This is shit talking. So, just a couple things I want to cover real quick. I apologize that my show was not out on Sunday. Friday was the first day that I didn't have a migraine, and so I just enjoyed the weekend and literally did nothing unless I had to leave my house. So, anyway, I apologize, but as my girl Debbie would say, sorry, not sorry. I think it was Demi Lovato that sang that. Anyway, so yeah, there's that. And then I want to give a quick shout out and an apology to my mom. That's not who the shout out's for. When I was growing up, my mom always listened to oldie stations, and I always made fun of her because old people listen to oldie stations. Open mouth, insert foot. Because now my generation has an oldie station. They call it retros, 80s and 90s, but let's be real, it's the fancy way of saying you're getting old, dude. Anyway, so in the morning on the local channel, 102 KZ 102.3, they have a morning show called Brooke and Jeffrey, and I love it. I want to give a huge shout out to them. I love your show. Would love to have you on here sometime, especially Jeffrey. And yeah. So, big shout out to them. I'm sorry, Mom, because now I'm feeling old. And my birthday's coming up. At the end of September. I'll take large presents or large amounts of cash. September 30th. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about engagements and weddings. But first, we have to talk about divorces because it's time for another cheesy monologue. There's a new diner opening up in town called Karma. There's no menus. You get what you deserve. A new company that specializes in glass coffins is opening a factory in about an hour away. I guess their success remains to be seen. I had a few jokes about unemployment, but they didn't work. My friend buys guns from a friend named T-Rex. His store is called Small Arms Sales. A new report came out that says Adele will wake up every morning and walk across the street just to say, "Hello from the other side." Sorry, I thought that was really fun to do. My friend's wife is a little crazy. The other night she said there were moose falling from the sky. He said, honey, it's just reindeer. I butchered this joke with every rehearsal I did, so wish me luck. I hacked into the email of Forrest Gump. His password was really easy to guess. It's just one, Forrest, one. I did it. My family used to breed rabbits, but let's be real. They can handle it all themselves. In a recent study, it proved that losing your wife can be really tough, especially because they keep coming back. I'm proud to announce that my apartment recently passed an inspection. They said on the inspection, quote, prior to inspection, there seems to have been a struggle. End quote. And finally, here's this week's point to ponder. I bet when two cheetahs race and one gets caught cheating, the other one says, "You're a cheetah!" Then they go to the local watering hole, share some laughs, and a zebra. The White House is one staffer short, and this staffer might be losing something else more important. It's time for this edition of Table Talk. Kellyanne Conway's abrupt resignation from the White House may not be enough to save her family because her daughter still wants to be emancipated. 15-year-old Claudia Conway went back on her favorite platform, TikTok, to bemoan her family situation and is pleading with fans to hook her up with a lawyer so she can free herself from her family. Claudia says the strife in her family is out of control, adding it's so bad she's become numb to crying. You'd think Claudia would side with her dad George because they both despise Donald Trump, but Claudia says her dad doesn't care about her and even has been abusive to her, although she offered no evidence. She says her mom also got her arrested. George also left the Lincoln Project in a tweet stating, quote, "So I'm withdrawing from the @Project Lincoln to devote more time to family matters. I'll be taking a Twitter hiatus. Needless to say, I still support the Lincoln Project and its mission passionately." It sounds like Claudia is on her way to emancipation, at least financially. She says she's been paying for everything from phone bills to hair and everything else. She even landed a new job to help her pay for it. TMZ reached out to Kellyanne and George, but have not heard back. Hilton heiress Paris Hilton is opening up about her traumatic chapter in her life before her Simple Life startup in an upcoming documentary that, well, is pretty shocking. The famous heiress describes her rebellious youth living with her family in New York City's Waldorf Astoria hotel resulted in her parents sending her to several boarding schools, the last of which was Utah's Provo Canyon School. Paris stayed there for 11 months before turning 18, but says it was less of a school and more of an obedience camp where it was, quote, "all day screaming in my face, yelling at me, continuous torture," end quote. She alleges the abuse was verbal, mental, and emotional, claiming that the staff would say terrible things to her to try and make her feel bad and bully her. Also claims there was physical abuse, hitting and strangling the students. Paris says students could end up in solitary confinement for up to 20 hours a day, and she was having frequent panic attacks and crying daily due to her misery and fear. She says, quote, "I felt like a prisoner and I hated life," end quote. 3 of her classmates who also appear in the upcoming documentary, This Is Paris, adding more allegations of abuse, quote, including force-fed medication, end quote. Paris was freed from the boarding school when she turned 18 in 1999, and she just wanted to put it behind her so badly, she never even really talked about it, including to her parents. She was ashamed of her time there and adds, quote, I buried my truth for so long, end quote. The documentary premieres September 14th right here on YouTube. One more quick thing. Let's go back there. Thank you. Officials at the Provo Canyon School tell TMZ in an update yesterday at 8:17 a.m. Pacific time. They were told that it changed ownership in August of 2000. So, quote, "We therefore cannot comment on the operations or patient experience prior to this time," end quote. TMZ was told that the school today is a psychiatric youth residential treatment center for kids with special mental health needs, focused on, quote, providing effective treatment, compassionate care, and nurturing environment for the students and families we serve, end quote. Now pull up Kim Jong-un. North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un is once again on his deathbed. That is, if you buy some of what South Korea officials are saying about his mysterious health status. Chang Sung-min, a former aide to the late South Korean President Kim Dae-jung, recently told South Korea media that based on intel he'd received, he had assessed that old Kim to be in a coma and not entirely deceased quite yet. He went on to say, quote, a complete succession structure has not been formed, so Kim Yong-jong is being brought to the force as the vacuum cannot be maintained for a prolonged period, end quote. There might be something to this because North Korea's National Intelligence Service said although Kim would still be, quote, exert absolute power, end quote, he would gradually begin to transfer his authority to his younger sister, Kim Yo-jong, to, quote, ease stress, end quote. So something has to be up. Of course, there's been tons of theories, including debunked body doubles, but one that seems to be sticking now is that Kim might very well soon be on his way out. What's bizarre about this latest development is that Kim was reported to have been in a meeting in person just as recently as this past week, and we saw a photo of him in late July. He also reportedly ordered an execution of some North Korean officials pretty recently. Whatever's going on there, I hope you get better. I don't know how good that is to wish a dictator that, but I don't like to see anyone suffer. So, yeah. Moving on. So, this version of what's wrong here is going to be hilarious. Because you can't have a wedding and not announce your engagement, which is what a lot of people back in the day used to do. I don't know if it's so common now with the internet, and you can just announce it on Facebook nowadays. But back in the day, they would put the announcement in the newspaper. And a lot of the names made you go, It's time for this edition of What's Wrong Here? Here's the announcement of the Wang Holder family. Next up is the Golden Showers family, or wedding. Next up, it's the Party Moore wedding. I guess that's what they did at the reception. Best lay. Some people should not get married just because of their names. I'm sorry. Like this one, Drilling Cousins. Or how about the Long Wee Wee engagement? I mean, really. This one's not so bad, but it is Butts McCracken. Or maybe even, the Bush Rash wedding. How about the Filler Upstanding wedding? And finally, the Nicer Hoe wedding. It's always good to see those. Nicer hoes. It's really a lost art now. There's some people that will hire photographers for their weddings, and they'll even put out little disposable cameras for everyone to turn in and get the picture sent to the bride and groom. I don't get it. These are some pictures that were taken at weddings. Some are paid for. Some aren't. It's time for this week's edition of Oops. This first picture, the group saved a lot on their wedding gowns. Yeah, that's body paint. I'm not saying I don't like that picture. Clearly, that's not what I'm saying. So there's a tradition at receptions that the bride and groom will cut the cake and then feed each other a piece of it. They don't say to feed the whole cake to the lady. She even looks shocked about that one. Okay. Clearly, I've never been a woman. Clearly, I've never bought a bra. Or anything that I would have to measure this with. However, if there's another lockdown, you're going to have to start ordering me bras. Anyway, I don't think this girl got best gown. This next one would have... Oh, hold on. Wrong picture. This next one would have been a nice picture. Had the deck not broken. So here's a beautiful couple that are kneeling at the altar. But let's see. What's written on his shoes? Help! It's that one last call, one last ditch effort to get out of it. And in this one, I think the guy is marrying the wrong girl. Do you get my gist? Okay. So I believe it's the Jewish religion have a tradition where at the reception they'll carry the gentleman around, pass him around and take him around, and they do the same thing with the wife while they dance and sing. I don't know the meaning behind it. I don't know exactly how the tradition works. But all I can say is make sure you have the headroom to do this next time. I mean, yeah. This couple couldn't wait till the honeymoon. Or at least the guy couldn't. Really? I can kind of see this next one happening in my rural area. This is how this chick apparently walked down the aisle. I could see that happening here in the town I live in. And the final one, hello, kitty. Why do you have a mascot at your wedding as your maid of honor and best man? Really? Oy vey. So this comes to the end of the show. There's a few things I want to point out real quick. This is episode 11 of a 12 episode season. So the next episode is the season finale. And I have some big plans, so be sure to watch it. I'll probably get it out Monday because of what I have planned. I'm gonna maybe need some extra time to get all the kinks worked out of it. So I guarantee you it'll be an excellent episode. Join me next week when I post that episode. Also, season 3 will get started. Will come back to air on the 27th of September. That's just a few days before my birthday, and that's right, we're having a birthday party. So one of two things is going to happen. Either one, sorry, everything is backwards in the camera, and so I think I'm closing one hand, and it's the wrong hand. Anyway, option one is if the girls are involved next season, and I'll try to let you guys know by the next episode if we're gonna try again. But if they are part of the show and can do the show that day, it's gonna be totally planned and all put together by them. I'm gonna bring the computer and press record, and that's it. So that's what I told them. I don't want to know anything about the show. Make it a complete surprise for me. But if they can't be part of the show, I do have some good ideas to help celebrate my birthday. So we'll see what happens. And don't forget, normally at the end of a season, I say normally, like I've been on like 10 years. So I did, at the end of last season, I did a giveaway. I'm going to do it again. So be sure to watch out for those questions and rules coming out. I'll try to get them into the next episode, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. Make sure that's all I wanted to say. Yeah. Okay. So, without further ado, let's get to ending the show. If you have any pictures any pictures or wedding announcements or anything you think I'd like to see, here's my socials. Also, let me know about how to do my dog. I'm sorry. That totally. Let me know what to do about the Mountain Dew that my dog knocked over. There's my accounts. I'm just going to keep going because I'm tired of doing retakes. Which I'll probably end up doing anyway. Be sure that you like, subscribe, and get notifications anytime one of my episodes post. And I'm already starting to plan for season 3. I've got some good ideas, funny ideas. So it's going to get even better. I promise. Anyway, until next time, everybody, please stay healthy, stay safe, stop the hate, and come back anytime you need some shit talking.